All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name's Nicole, and welcome back to our English class. It's great to have you here, everyone. If you remember on our last session, we were just, getting started with English consonants and those handy IPA symbols. Well, today we are picking up right where we left off, and we are going to see how these sounds really behave in actual words. Now, our main focus for today is called consonant clusters. Now, you can see on your screen there's consonant clusters and silent letters, but for today, we're going to focus on consonant clusters. So, these are basically groups of consonants that hang out together in words. That's clusters, and getting them right can really make a difference in how natural you sound when you speak. So we will spend our time unraveling those. As for silent letters, those sneaky ones that are written but not spoken, that those are silent letters. Well, we will definitely get to those, but that's for another day in a future session. Ultimately, we are going to focus on clusters, but yeah, both of them. We need to understand these patterns because it isn't just about sounding perfect in here. It is about making your English clearer, and it really helps you catch what native speakers are saying too. So it's a very practical skill for all of us. But yeah, we're going to take it easy, go through everything step by step, and make sure we are all on the same page. Okay, ready to get started? Because we are going to start immediately, of course. We are going to start with this consonant clusters. I've mentioned that our focus for today is on consonant clusters. All right. So picking up from the first slide, let's really get into what we mean by consonant clusters. Okay? As the slide shows, at its core, a consonant cluster is simply a group of two or more consonant sounds that appear consecutively within a word. Okay? So now it's important to keep in mind that we are talking about sounds here, not just letters in the spelling. Okay? Okay, I'm gonna put sounds here. I forgot to include sounds because you might get confused and just focus on the letters. Okay, we are focusing on consonant sounds. Okay, all right. So in here, sometimes the letters might be together, but they represent a single sound, or one of them might be silent. Okay, with clusters, we are focusing on each individual consonant sound being pronounced right next to another. So these clusters are a very common feature in English, and you will find them in various positions within words. They can actually show up right at the beginning, like in words that start maybe with uh st, something like that, like str, like straw. So that's an example. You will also encounter them in the middle of words, often bridging two syllables, which can sometimes be tricky to pronounce smoothly. And finally, they can also appear at the very end of the word, which can add a little bit of a challenge, especially when we are trying to connect words in a sentence. Okay? So, yes, we are going to focus on consonant clusters. Well, course, you might wonder why we are learning this particular topic in consonant clusters. Well, understanding the where these clusters occur and how to articulate them is quite significant in a way that it directly impacts the rhythm and the clarity of your spoken English. And it also plays a big role in your ability to accurately hear and comprehend words when others speak. So, mastering these groups of sounds is a practical step towards more natural and fluent English pronunciation. So, we will be looking at specific examples for each of these positions shortly. Well, we are really bringing this definition to life. Okay, consonant clusters. All right, next. Okay, so now that we know what a consonant cluster is generally, let us zoom in on a very common type, initial clusters. Can you see my slide? Let me check. Okay, wait for a moment. I'm gonna try to adjust this one. You cannot really adjust it, but you can see the title, right? It's initial cluster. Yes, that's the only thing that's written on the slide aside from the one above. Oh, this one consonant cluster. You can see that this one also initial cluster, and there's nothing else at the bottom. Okay, so it's okay as long as you can see the title. I'm gonna say it. If even if you cannot see it, I'm gonna say it. Okay. Well, going back, we are um we are zooming on the first type of consonant cluster, which is initial cluster. Okay. Now, as the slide highlights here, these are quite specific. They are essentially sequences of two or more distinct consonant sounds that consistently appear right at the very beginning of a word. Or if a word has multiple syllables at the beginning of a syllable. Okay, that is, what do you call that? That is consonant cluster. It appears at the very beginning of a word or a syllable. So you might also hear these referred to as initial consonant blends or onset clusters. Okay? The term onset here simply refers to the beginning part of a syllable. So the sound or sounds that come before the vowel sound. That's onset. So when we say onset cluster, we are just specifying that these groups of consonants are starting off that syllable. So these initial clusters are crucial because they set the stage for how the rest of the word is pronounced. And of course, getting the sequence of these sounds correct right from the start significantly contributes to clear and, of course, accurate pronunciation. They are very distinctive in English, and being able to kind of like identify and produce them smoothly will make your spoken English sound much more natural. So we will move on to some concrete examples next, which will make this concept very clear. Okay? All right. We have a table here. So moving on, this slide provides us with some direct examples of those. Let's start with two consonant initial clusters, which we just defined. So you will see a table here that lays out these patterns very clearly. Now, in the first column, we have the cluster itself, represented by its IPA symbols, showing the two consonant sounds together. So the second column gives you an example word that uses a cluster at the beginning. Then importantly, the third column is the IPA transcription for the entire word, so you can see exactly how it's represented phonetically. And finally, the notes column offers a few more related words that use that same cluster. Okay? Now, the crucial point here is to practice blending these two consonant sounds together smoothly without inserting any vowel in between them. And the goal here is to give us, ample opportunity to focus on the precise blending of each pair of the sounds right at the beginning of the word. Okay? We will break down what's happening with your mouth and, of course, how to make these sounds flow naturally. All right? Okay. First we have here p and l, or p, p, p. So that is a p cluster. As heard in our example word, play. So think about the p sound. It's made by closing your lips briefly and then releasing air. P, p. So immediately after that, without any vowel sound in between, your tongue should quickly move into position for the L sound or the L sound, okay, which typically involves the tip of your tongue touching the ridge behind your teeth. So So it's that direct, quick transition from the from the lip closure of p to the tongue movement for l. So we say p. Again, p. Sample word, play. Again, play. It's not play. Okay, we do not want to put a vowel sound in between the two consonant sounds. That's not play, but we try to smoothen it out. Okay, remove that vowel sound in between. We will say play. Okay, make it faster. Play. One more time. Play. Okay, we also find this common blend in words like plan and plus. Okay, plan and plus. So take a moment to really focus on the connection as you say play, plan, plus with me. Okay, feel how your mouth adjusts from the p to the l almost simultaneously. Okay, that's for the first cluster, this one. All right, moving on to the next. We have the bull cluster. Our example word here is block. Again, block. Similar to pull, the first, consonant cluster, the b sound also starts with a lip closure. Okay, but it is voiced. So we have a voiced equivalent of the consonant clusters that we did, consonant cluster that we did earlier, which is the first one. So that is bull. Now it's voiced, meaning your vocal cords vibrate. So as you release the b, immediately bring your tongue into position for the l sound. Okay, so you're transitioning from a voiced lip sound directly to that voiced L sound. Block. Again, block. This blend is present in many words such as blue and block. Let's articulate black, blue, block together, ensuring that the bull blend is clean and continuous. Okay, that's the second consonant cluster. Bull. So bull, first one, and second one, bull, are quite similar in a way. They just differ on the first sound, first sound, because pull is using p or the p, letter p sound, so that is voiceless. While second one uses the letter b sound, which is what we consider as voiced here. Okay? Okay. Now let's look at the cul cluster, which is exemplified by the word class. Again, class. The K sound is made at the back of your throat, and as you release it, your tongue needs to swiftly move forward for the L sound. So this requires coordination between the back of your tongue and the front. So that's class. Well, here it's important to note, to add a short vowel sound. Like class. Okay, class. Let's not do that. We are just gonna say class directly. Okay, class. So this requires coordination between the back of your tongue and the front, of course, class. It's important to really not add short vowel sound, okay? As much as possible, because that's not how you properly say it with vowel sound in between. It's just class, not class, okay? Other common words featuring this cluster inside, clean and include clean and clock, okay? So practice class, clean, clock, really feeling that seamless shit, sorry. I am so sorry, my mistake. Seamless shift, okay? Okay. Anyway, yes, I am referring to a shift, okay? Transition, the changes, okay, from the back to the front of your mouth for the cl blend, okay, this particular consonant blend. Okay, next, following that, we encounter the gl cluster. Our word here is glass, okay, this is the voiced counterpart to cl, third one. So that's one, this one, okay, this is the voiceless. Well, this is the voiced counterpart of it. Okay? So the G sound is also made at the back of the throat, but with vocal cord vibration because it's voiced. And that's the characteristic of a voiced sound. From that voiced G, your tongue moves quickly to the L position like glass. So pay attention to the clear, immediate connection between these two voiced sounds. This blend is also crucial in words like glove and glad. Let's say glove, glad, glass. Make sure that uh, make sure that the gl sound is smooth and directly linked. Okay. Okay. Next up, we have the full cluster. Okay. Full cluster with our examples word fly. The F sound here is made by air passing between your upper teeth and lower lip. So as the air is released, of course, the L sound comes in immediately. So it's a transition from that fricative air sounds to the L. Fly. You'll find this blend in words like flag and flower. So try fly, flag, flower, focusing on making that full a single flowing sound. Okay? Okay. Following this, we come to the sil cluster as heard in sleep. This sound is a continuous and voiced hissing sound and made by air escaping through a narrow gap created by your tongue. So from this continuous S sound, your tongue transitions smoothly into the L sound in sleep. So it requires maintaining that airflow and then bringing in the L swiftly. Other examples are slow on side, so let's make practice for them. Okay? All right. I hope. Okay. As you can see on the screen, we're still on this one. But yeah, where am I? We're already on fly. Okay. I mean sleep. That's the latest or recent discussion. Sample exam. Not sample, but a recent example for this discussion. Okay. Let's move on to the next. Per. Per. We are going to shift our focus to the R clusters because earlier we focused on the L clusters. Now it's time for the R clusters, okay? Okay. So, where am I? Per. Okay? So the P sound, the letter P sound as we discussed is a brief lip closure. Immediately after that, your tongue needs to move quickly into the position for the R sound, which in English often involves at the back of your tongue. Rising and the tip not not quite touching anything. So it's a quick pop up of air from the P followed by the R sound pray. So this is also a key feature in words like prime and proud. Try pray, prime, and proud. Really working on making the per blend as seamless as possible. Okay? All right. And we are going to focus finally on this slide, the burr clusters. In this slide, meaning there's more. And there is actually more. So burr cluster with our example word brown. This is the voiced version of the previous cluster. The B sound, a voiced lip closure leads directly into the R sound. So it's a voiced release from his lips straight into the Y position brown. This is a very common initial blend, also present in, Brad and Bring. So let's say brown, Brad, Bring, Amy for that. Flood. Don't know. Yeah, that's the first set of examples on two consonant initial clusters. Let's continue with this one. Let's continue with our two consonant initial cluster. Now, this slide introduces us to more R clusters, okay? All right. For a moment. Okay. First, we have the ter cluster, as in trip. Okay, now this is a very common one, but it can sometimes be confused with a slightly different sound. So when you say trip, it's the T sound flowing directly into the R sound, trip. What we want to avoid is letting it sound too much, like a ch sound followed by R, which is represented by that particular IPA, TF, something like that. But yeah, it's not trip, okay? Trip, but trip, okay? Trip. You'll find this blend in tree and try, tree and try. So focus on keeping that clear before her. Okay, say trip, tree. Try with me. Why? Well, try to, what do you call that? Try to say trip, tree, and try with me. We're aiming for that distinctive blend. Okay, trip, tree, my. Try. Try, trip, tree, trip, tree. Tree, try, trip. Okay? Alright. Next, we have the der cluster, as in drop. Similar to TR, which one can also be, this one can also be tricky. So it's the D sound moving straight into the R sound. So that's drop. The confusion here often comes with letting it sound like a J sound followed by R, right? Which would be jur. Okay, jur. That's a confusion here. So we are going to for drop and not drop. Okay, not with a J sound. So this cluster is also in dream and drive. Let's try drop, dream, drive. Really listening to the DR connection, maybe. Okay. Or am I? Okay. All right. So the cluster here is also in dream and drive. Let's try drop, dream, drive. Really listening for the DR connection. Okay. All right. Moving on, we have the Kerr cluster exemplified by crime. This is the K sound blending directly into the Yar's sound back home. Okay. Remember. All right. Okay. Well, remember the K here is produced at the back of the throat. So it's a quick shift from the back to the mouth K. Okay. K to the R position. You will hear this in words like crowd and cross too. So practice crime, crowd, cross, making that KR blend smoothly and precise. All right. Okay. Following that GR cluster, as in grow, this is the voiced equivalent of GR. The G sound, also from the back of the throat, directly connects to the R sound, grow. Listen to how the voice G transitions seamlessly into the R sound. This cluster is found in green and great. So let's say grow, green, great, ensuring that GR blend is clear and flowing. Okay. Then we have the fur cluster. So with our examples, word here, we have, excuse me for that, we have fry. So the F sound made by air escaping between your teeth and lip moves immediately into the R sound. Okay? Fry. It's a continuous and voiced flow. So you'll also find this blend in free and friend, in try and fry, free, friend, focusing on that smooth for transition. Okay? All right. Now, a particularly challenging one for many learners, the third cluster, as in three. This starts with the TH sound where your tongue tip is typically between or just blend your front teeth, followed directly by the R sound 3. This combination of the TH and R sounds requires practice and precise tongue placement and coordination. So it often takes a bit more practice to get it feeling free. How do you call that? But yeah. So the blend here is also found in words like shrimp and shrub. Okay, pay close attention to how your mouth forms that initial blend as you speak. Okay, all right. This is the second set of clusters. Now, of course, these clusters, these consonant clusters, especially the ones noted as challenging, is a consistent practice and isolating the sounds if needed. So pay attention to the subtle differences in tongue and tip position as you move from the desert from the first connection. Okay. Okay, I see your latest slide here, which continues with two consonant clusters, initial clusters first. This time we are looking at the clusters that start with letter S, of course. Okay. All right. Where am I? So here's the teacher talk to go through each of these clusters in detail, keeping it natural, clear, and practical for all adult learners. Okay. All right. Okay, that's the second set. Let's move on to the next set of consonant cluster. Okay, very simple as you can see on the table. First up, we have the cluster, as in the word spoon. Notice how the S sound blends smoothly and directly into the P sound without, any intervening vowels. So it's not sapun, but a swift connected spoon. Again, spoon. So the P here is usually unaspirated, meaning there's not a strong puff of air after it. Okay, for P. Spoon. Okay, unlike when P appears at the beginning of a word by itself, like in pen. Okay, this smooth blend is also clear in words like speak and sport. Let's try spoon, speak, sport together, focusing on the seamless PR transition between. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's move on. We have st cluster. So with our example word stop, similar to the previous one, the S sound transitions straight into the T sound, like stop. Okay, again, the T here is typically unaspirated. You won't hear a strong pull of air after it, so that this makes the blend, this makes the blend tighter and more natural. Okay, because you are at the this where am I here? Stop. Okay, that's a dangerous situation you're in. So try to give an example. Now here, practice step star. Stop star street with me, ensuring that ST is a single, phenomenon. Well, moving on to, we have here as cluster. So it exemplified by sky. Here's the S sound leads directly into the K sound, sky. So just like with the P and T, it is after the K in the cluster, which is usually unaspirated. Okay. All right. So it's not CK, but a direct sky. You'll find this blend in school and scale as well. So let's practice sky, school, skill, making that SK blend precise and smooth. Now let's look at the cluster, as in small, the SM. This is an interesting one because both sounds are voiced, and there is transitions into the nasal M sound. Like pay attention. This smooth nasal connection is key. So other than words with a clear cluster include smile and smoke. Try small, smile, something like that. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, following that, the cluster. Okay. It's just so funny. But anyway, where am I? Where is the last time? Small. Well, let's just focus on the next one. Following that, here, the cluster with our example word snow, similar to or SM, let's just say SM. This involves the S blunting into a nasal consonant. This time the N sound, you are getting more and more talk of the town. Okay. So similar to SM here, I haven't done in SM. So this is an interesting one because both sounds are voiced, and there is really transitions into the nasal. I'm proud. How do you call that? M sound. So it's small. So pay attention to how your lips close for the M immediately after the S sound begins. Okay. This smooth nasal connection is key. Other words with this cluster include smile and smoke. So try small, Smile, smoke together, maybe focusing on that natural SM. Uh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, following that, the SN cluster with our example word here, snow. So similar to SM, this involves the S blending into a nasal consonant. Okay. This time, the N sounds no. Your tongue will move directly from the S position to make contact for the N sound. Again, without any vowel in between. We do not say snow, but snow. Be direct. Okay. This cluster is also important in snake and tariff of something. Okay. All right. Where am I now? Okay. Well, we're going to full. Maybe we can go to the ocean park and just do some sightseeing. Okay. Well, anyway, enough of that. Finally, for this slide is the TW cluster. Okay, with example word twin. The example word is twin. So this is a T sound blending directly into the W sound, and we get twin. Okay, twin. All right. You'll initiate the T sound here and then immediately round your lips for the W, creating that quick, seamless transition. Okay. This blend is also used in words like 2 and 20. Let's say twin 220, focusing on the clean W connection. Okay. All right. I see the slide continues our explanation of two consonant initial clusters. Let's have how many? Let me check. It's not here. All right. This one. Well, in this slide, first on the list is the DW cluster, as heard in the word dwell. Okay? Here, the D sound transitions directly into the W sound. So remember, the W involves rounding your lips. So you're kind of like moving from the D sound to that quick lip rounding for the W. So it's a single, smooth movement, not dwell, but dwell. Okay? You also find this cluster in words like that. Okay? Try dwell and dwarf together, focusing on the clear DW blend. Next, we have the KW cluster, which is quite common, and our example word is queen. So it's a key point here as the slide continues. Yeah, with its notes. Well, as the slide notes, it is that made the whole thing with it's attached a consonant cluster. That's that. Okay. All right. We have the KW's cluster here, which is quite common in our example word is queen. So a key point here, as the slide notes, is that the spelling in English almost always represents the KW sound. So it's the K sound made at the back of your throat. Really, acceptable. Okay. All right. Good morning. I don't know. But yeah, that's that. Now we are moving into a series of clusters that involve the J sound. Not J sound, but the E sound. Okay? E sound or the letter Y sound. It's just that the IP symbol of it is letter J. Okay? But it's letter Y sound, okay? This sound is often represented by the letter Y in English. Okay? It appears after another consonant, creating a distinct blend. Okay? Let's start with PJ. In the IP transcription, but it's pure PY. Okay? Pure. The slide points out that the U after P can represent the J sound, so it's the P sound followed quickly by the Y sound. Okay? Like words like how do you call that? Pure. Okay? Pure. In some accent, the word put, it's pronounced as pute. Okay? It might also have the subtle Y sound in if produced as pute. Okay? It's about blending the consonant with that initial Y sound before the vowel. That's that. Let's try pure, focusing on that PJ blend. Okay? That's that. All right. Following that, we have by, as in not in the spelling, but in not in the spelling. By is not in the spelling as well as in the voiced or voiceless sounds. It's not part. So um following this one, PJ, here um the the how do you call it, the bag with that kind of zipper, it represents the J sound similar to P. It's the B sound blending into the Y sound beauty, so it's a standard beauty. Okay, all right. Okay, now this blend gives the word its specific pronunciation. Another example, you might hear this in a beautiful manner, or the beautiful Robinsons itself. So practice beauty, feeling how the B smooth connects with the Y sound. Okay, next up is the my cluster, my cluster, found in music. So the U after M here indicates that Y sound. Okay, so it's time the M sound, which is made with your lips closed and sound coming through your nose, quickly followed by the Y sound, which is music. This blend is also represented in words like museum. Let's try music, emphasizing that flowing connection between them. And that's that. Okay, let's try to focus on them. Okay, here the combination of these different vowel sounds. It typically spends time. How do you call that? So it is really clearly pronounced, although the hypertranscription is J. Okay. So if I'm so it's me the M sound, which is made with your lips closed and sound coming through your nose quickly. Okay, followed by the Y sound, which is the music, of course. This blend is also present in words like human and other things, because that's just one of the many water bottles. How to call that we are going to use. This one specifically because it's big and it's sturdy. By the hand, by touching it, you can really tell. Okay. All right. Another example you might hear this in is beautiful. Practice beauty, feeling how the B smoothly connects with the Y sound. Okay. Next up is MJ. Not we already did that. We already did that. Next, then we have NJ cluster as in use. Here the U spelling represents the Y sound. So it's the news. It's the N sound where your tongue tip touches behind your teeth. Okay? It's the N sound where your tongue tip touches behind your front teeth, immediately followed by the Y sound news. Okay? This is a very common pronunciation and you will hear it clearly in the word new as well. Say news, focusing on that clean NJ blend. Okay? And finally, for this slide, the HJ cluster, as in huge. Again, huge. The U spelling here signals the J sound after the H. Okay? It's like putting HY. Okay? HY. But yeah, it's not that. So if it's this H sound, a simple puff of air, followed quickly by the Y sound, huge, this blend is also found in the human. Okay, I've already ordered my food. How about you? Okay, well, that's that. HJ is the last consonant cluster here, like huge, human. Okay, and we are on this one. So those are what we've talked. What we have discussed so far are two consonant initial clusters. There's actually 4 slides for it. That's how many is it? That's how many it is. But I think there's still more. But we're going to focus on this first. Okay. Well, after two consonant initial clusters, of course, we will be tapping also into the 3 consonant initial clusters. Okay. Now, all right, I see this slide take us to the next level. Well, these are definitely a bit more complex as they involve blending three consonant sounds right at the beginning of a word. We'll go through each of these step by step, okay? All right. Okay. Three consonant initial clusters. Okay. First, we have the SPL cluster, as in the word splash. This combines the S sound followed by P, then L, all in one smooth sequence. So that's splash. Remember, with the S at the beginning, the P sound here is unaspirated, no big puff of air after it. This makes the transition from S to P to L very fluid. You'll also find this cuter. Okay? All right. That's actually. Anyway, no puff of air after it. This makes the transition from SP to the L is very fluid. You also find this cluster in words like spirit and splendid. Try splash, split, splendid with me, making sure all three sounds are clearly just, articulated without telling me. Okay? All right. Moving on, we have the STR cluster, which is extremely common, as in strong. Okay? This is composed of S, then T, then R. We get the word strong. Just like with SP and ST, the T sound here is unaspirated, making it blend seamlessly from the S into the R. So this cluster appears constantly in words like street and structure. So try strong, street, structure, paying close attention to the smooth transition across all three sounds. Okay? Following that, we have the SKR cluster as heard in screen. Here, it's the S sound followed by K, then R screen. Our BF is actually focusing on that. Well, here, the K sound here is also unaspirated because it's after an S, okay? So, it's a direct, let's say, screen C. Right. Okay. Well, that's on SKR, okay? How do you call that? So, it's a direct, tight blend from S to the K to the R. You also find this in scratch and screw. So, let's take and let's say your screen also, okay? All right. Well, that's that. We have the last three consonant initial cluster, which is actually this is not the last. There's still okay. This is almost at the last. So this is SKW cluster, as in the word squeak. Again, squeak. This slide notes that the SQU spelling in the word squeak, it often represents this cluster. Okay? Alright. Well, it's the S sound, then K, then W, that lip rounding sound. Squeak. So you are transitioning from the S to the back of the throat, K, and then immediately rounding your lips for the W. This is a very consistent thing in English words spelled with SQU. Other words include square and squid. Try square, square, squeak, squid, making sure that the final W is clearly pronounced, okay? Squa, squa. Okay. Now let's look at some clusters that involve the letter J. Or not letter J, but the letter Y sound. Okay, but it's J in the IP symbol. So which can be a bit more subtle. First is STJ, as in student. Student. It's student. The note here mentions youth coalescence. Don't know for. Well, what that means in simple terms is that sometimes, especially in American English, when the T sound is followed by a Y sound, they can merge to create a Ch sound. Okay? Alright. We'll remove this one. Okay? Alright. Well, that's student. Okay? So, the note here mentions youth coalescence. What that means in simple terms is that sometimes, especially in American English, when a T sound is followed by a Y sound, they can merge to create a Ch sound like that. Okay. So if it's practice, how do you call that? Okay. All right. That's SKW. No, STJ. Still, still stuck at that. Well, here, so student might be pronounced as student. Okay. Student. Or sometimes closer to student. We're focusing on the, how do you call that? STJ blend as written where the T clearly leads into the Y sound. So practice student or student, stu. Okay? Focusing on that immediate flow from the T to the Y sound. Okay? All right. Next we have here is the SPJ cluster as in spurious. For a moment, let me check my slide. I am checking my slide from time to time because I don't really want any technical issues or error be done. Although there are times that it can really be unavoidable. So I'm trying to check from time to time if my screen is your screen also, okay? Well, as you can see, that's your screen. So that's correct. No problem at all. Let's continue. Okay? All right. Okay. So here we focus on the STJ sound, right? So yeah, the first J's the first Y sound, okay? All right. Here, when a T sound is how do you call it, followed by a Y sound, they can merge to create H sound or CH sound. We are focusing on the TJ blend and a worm. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. Next, we have the SPJ cluster as in spurious. This one is less in common, but it's important to recognize it involves the letter S, then P, which is unaspirated here, followed by the Y sound, spurious. Okay. Again, spurious. Okay. All right. Where am I? Now here it requires that precise, quick movement from P into the Y sound. So say spurious. Again, you can say spurious, making sure that you can feel that, SPY sequence. That's for the second to the last consonant cluster, which is again a three consonant initial cluster, SPJ. Don't forget about that, okay? Next to that, and the last consonant initial cluster is SKJ cluster, as in sculptor. Well, yeah, kind of. Similar to the last two, this is also kind of like how do you call that? This is also less common but follows the pattern, okay? S then K, which is here K is an aspirated. Followed by the Y sound sculptor. It's about my lesson. Okay. Alright. Oh no. It's the alright. Well, anyway, that's sculptor. So it's about that smooth transition from K sound at the back of the beginning of a word. Okay. Alright. Well, that is SKJ. So these three consonant clusters require careful attention to the sequence and ensuring that each sound is pronounced cleanly and quickly into the text. Okay? The S followed by an unaspirated P, T, or K is a key characteristic to remember. Consistent practice will build the muscle memory for these more complex blends. Okay? All right. That's that. For a moment. All right. Let's try to review again all the consonant initial clusters that we have mentioned, we have discussed so far. Not so far, but these are already all the initial consonant clusters. May it either be two consonant initial clusters or the longer, which is three consonant initial clusters. Okay. All right. We've covered quite a few of these in how do you call that, initial consonant clusters, both two consonant and three consonant, really. So you've seen the patterns, you've heard me demonstrate them, and now it's your turn to put this into practice. But before that, again, as I've mentioned, it's important. I'm gonna try to review everything. Okay, just short. Well, let's start with this one. This is our first set of consonant clusters, right? I'm just gonna say the, what do you call that? The cluster, the sound of the cluster, and then sample word. Okay? Alright. Starting with this one. Pull. Play. Play has a clear diphthong sound. We're already familiar with diphthong, right? It's when a vowel sound smoothly glides to another vowel sound. So vowel sound plus vowel sound, we get a diphthong. And the vowel sound here is A. Next, bull, black. Cool, glass. Gull, glass. Full, fly. Sl, sleep. Per, pray. Bur, brown. Ter, trip. Der, drop. Cur, crime. Crime. Grow. Fur, fry. Thir, three. Shrink. Sp- spoon. Stop. Sky. Small. S- snow. S- swim. T- twin. T- trip. Oh, I'm all done with this. Sorry. Do, do I, how do I say this? But yeah, it's do, 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 doy, 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 dwell, queen. Psh, psh, not psh. That's wrong. Pure, beauty, music, news, huge. And lastly, the three consonant initial clusters, which includes sp- sp- splash, sp- sp- spring, strong, screen, squeak, st- student, spurious, sculptor. Okay? Those are our initial consonant clusters. Either it's two-way, two consonant initial clusters or three consonant initial clusters. Okay? Um. All right. So we've spent a good amount of time looking at the consonant clusters that appear at the beginning of the words, which is what we consider as our initial clusters. And of course, I've mentioned earlier, it's our turn. It's your turn, basically. It's your turn to put this into practice. It's time to practice. Um, it's time to practice our your learning so far, okay? From this session. Now, what I need you to do, it's very easy. Well, what I need you to do, it's very easy. I just need you to say, and not say, but read the whole sentence with me, and please give emphasis to the words that has initial consonant letters. May it be two consonant initial cluster or three consonant initial cluster. Okay, I actually highlighted already once the ones that are considered as consonant clusters. Okay, all right. Okay. Let's start with this one for a moment. Let me check my slide. All right. Okay, okay, that's good. Everything's good so far. Let me go back a moment. Okay, this sentence. Say it with me. The splendid spring stream sparkled in the sun. There's plenty of consonant clusters here. It's again the splendid spring stream sparkled in the sun. Your turn. Okay, very good. This is the splendid spring stream sparkled in the sun. The initial consonant clusters included here are there are four in total. First is okay, SPL. Second is SPR. Third is STR, and the sole two initial consonant cluster is SP. Okay. Again, this is the splendid spring stream sparkled in the sun. Next to that is he tried to drink the fresh juice from the glass. Okay, that's plenty. Again, he tried to drink the fresh juice from the glass. Your turn. Okay, very good. He tried to drink the fresh juice from the glass. There are five parts. There are five. What do you call that? There are five consonant clusters that I highlighted. First is TR in tried, DR in drink, FR in fresh, FR in from, and GL in glass. So GL is the sole L sound here. Second L sound here. The rest has an R sound, really, just paired with another vowel sound, another consonant sound. Okay. Again, this is he tried to drink the fresh juice from the glass. Next, smart students thrive on challenges. Again, smart students thrive on challenges. Your turn. Okay, very good. There are four consonant clusters in total, one of which are three initial consonant clusters. First is SM, then ST, and then followed by the three consonant initial consonant cluster THR, and then lastly CH. Again, this is smart students thrive on challenges. Next, a crow flew through the branches of the green tree. A crow flew through the branches of the green tree. Now, there are six initial consonant clusters, and only one of which are three initial consonant clusters. So we have CR, FL, THR, BR, GR, and TR. So more of the R sound. Again, this is a crow flew through the branches of the green tree. Next, the clown planned a great prank for the crowd. Again, the clown planned a great prank for the crowd. Your turn. Okay, very good. There's five in total. CL, PL, GR, PR, and CR. Again, this is the clown planned a great prank for the crowd. Okay, next. She slid smoothly on the glass surface, feeling a thrill. She slid smoothly on the glass, feeling a surface or a thrill. Okay, all right. There's four consonant clusters in total. We have first SL, followed by SM, and then GL, and lastly THR. Okay. Again, the sentence is she slid smoothly on the glass surface, feeling a thrill. Okay. Again, she slid smoothly on the glass surface, feeling a thrill. All right. Where am I? Okay. And the last sentence we have here, spread the strawberry jam on the scrambled eggs. Again, spread the strawberry jams on the scrambled eggs. Your turn. Okay, very good. There are three initial consonant clusters. All of them are three initial consonant clusters. Three letters. initial consonant clusters that has three letters or three sounds. Okay, first is SPR, second STR, and lastly SCR. Notice the pattern. The beginning is S, a hissing sound, and then it ends with a roaring sound or the R sound. Okay, there's just different letters in between or in the middle. Again, the sentence is spread the strawberry jam on the scrambled eggs. Strawberry jam on the scrambled eggs? That I don't know. Well, it does not sound yummy at all, but yeah, we have our own preferences and I respect that. Well, yeah, again, this sentence is spread the strawberry jam on the scrambled eggs. And I think that's the last. Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. And that ends our session for today. That's actually a wrap up, everyone. That's the last part. So for today, we've only covered, we've covered or we started our discussion on consonant clusters. For today's session, we've covered the initial consonant clusters. So I decided really to break the consonant clusters discussion into two sessions because I don't want you to overwhelm with so many concepts, with so many consonant clusters in English language. Because if I try to bombard you with everything from the initial consonant clusters to middle consonant clusters and the final consonant clusters, all three of them, if I put all three of them into one session, it will bombard you and also you cannot really process or grasp everything properly. That is why let's take it slowly. Let's start with the first topic under consonant clusters, which is on initial consonant clusters, which is, as you've noticed and as if you are listening to me, you can see really that there are so many of them, right? The initial consonant cluster with two letters or two sounds. We're focusing on two sounds here in consonant clusters, okay? Not on spelling, but on sounds. So as you've noticed, there are so many of initial consonant clusters, especially for those initial consonant clusters with only two sounds. There's just so many of them. There's actually how many slides? I think four alone for the initial consonant clusters with two sounds, and then one slide for initial consonant clusters with three sounds. So that's just, that's already plenty of concepts that you should understand in one session. Okay, 1 hour is enough for that. We cannot really do that like in 20 minutes only. We cannot squeeze that into 20 minutes only because you cannot grasp the concepts properly. And I don't want that. I want you to be learning and I don't want you to be rushed. Okay? That's that. Well, that's a wrap up, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your presence. And I'm going to see you tomorrow for our next session. And I've mentioned, we are going to continue with consonant clusters for medial consonant cluster and final consonant cluster. Okay? Thank you so much and have a great rest of the night ahead. Goodbye.